Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream. Live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my very best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins, going to move some crypto around for you guys, and as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't troubleshoot your problems here live. Well, welcome. The market's still down. Took a little bit of a dive a day or so ago due to some regional bank woes. Looks like a replay of early 2023 when Silicon Valley Bank folded. But we'll see. These banks haven't gone out of business. They've just had some bad news and their stock has gone down. Whether it's the beginning of the total financial collapse, we'll see. But that's what's going on in the crypto market. Gonna just kind of relax tonight and do my best to get to Q&A. We had quite a bit of news last week. I think I spent 40 minutes on the news, so I didn't use that many news stories today. I do have a story that was shared with Positive Planet about a gentleman that lost a lot of XRP which he had on his cold wallet. And we'll talk about that. I've got that story linked down below. That'll be our last thing. And then I'm just going to go to Q&A and field your questions and maybe move a little crypto around. So good to have everybody here tonight. Hope everyone can hear me. Let's go over to this screen. It's great to be here. Good to have everybody here on a Saturday night. Kenny was here early. Thank you for being here, Kenny. Thought I was in Paris. I will be in Paris. I am leaving Monday and I will be back Friday. So it looks like I won't miss any live streams unless for some reason I'm too crazy or tired to do next week. I'll be back on Friday evening. I think I'll be fine on Saturday. And there'll be a lot of news from Ledger Open. So I'm going to talk about Ledger Open. I'm going there to Paris next week for the Ledger Open. The Ledger Open will be on Thursday. And we'll talk about what that's all about. But I'm here. I'm here tonight and I'll be here next week. So Mr. Miski is here. Andreas Ebert is here. Bobby is here. Good to have Bobby. Gregory Wieland, Simona Mullen, Roland Kane. Good to have you again, Roland. Good to have you. Let's see, E. Poston from Colorado, or it's Poston, right? I was always saying it wrong, right? It's Poston from Colorado. Irrationally irritable. I like that. That's good. That's a great handle. Good to have you here. Chris from England. Good to have you. P. Wizzle is here. Thanks for being here, Paul. Fred McIntyre, good to have you here again, Fred. Tom Kumangi, I don't think I've seen you in here before, maybe once before. HR by Catherine, here again. Good to have you. Wayne is here. Dusted in Shadow, great to have you. Kenny, my trip. Yes, well, yeah, I mean, not quite a week early. I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. But I will be back on Friday, and it's going to be fun. So let's see. If you've never been in the stream before, I've got all the news stories linked down below in the description. If you want to get a hold of me, I've got my Twitter handle, my YouTube, my Instagram, and Reddit, just so you'll know that that's my account. And if you want to shoot me an email, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions through email. Let's see. So we got a bunch of stuff we're going to talk about tonight. I wanted to plug Ledger. Where is it? I've got a dedicated Ledger landing page, and I'm going to be in Paris at the Ledger Open. So keep your eyes out for any new sales coming. Black Friday is coming up, so they will update this page. Joseph, thank you very much for your generous donation there. I always appreciate it. Well, it looks like you donated in British pounds, I think. But we bought some euros at our Chase Bank just in case. From what I understand, my Chase card will work just fine in France, probably to pay for stuff at restaurants and stores or whatever. But if that doesn't work, I can always use ATMs. Looked into that. That should be no problem. But we did purchase a little bit of euros just in case. So we'll have some when we get there in hand. So yeah, currency, right? International currency specialist. That's me. Also check out Stamp Seeds. I've got a link down in the description. It's a great way to store your seed phrase. Fireproof, waterproof, shockproof, fade proof, all that great stuff. It's a wonderful company. I really like them, and I love promoting their products. Looks like the Tangem ring sale is still on. So if you're on the Tangem page and you go down to the ring, looks like they're still giving the 10% CryptoDad and the 15% ring off. And you get a $5 Bitcoin rebate reward. So it's a good time to buy a Tangem ring if you want. And then if you just want the card set, you'll still get a Bitcoin rebate, and you'll still get 10% off using the CryptoDad link. Now I've got that link all done for you here, and it will automatically apply both discounts. Or you can go to this one that would just give you the 10% on any of their other products. So you might want to check that one out. Now, Ledger Open. So Ledger Open is in Paris on the 23rd of this month, this Thursday. So it's going to be pretty cool. If you click register here, if you're in the area, it'll take you over to this page, and they've got the itinerary set. So they're talking about big stuff. The keynote is at 1400. I guess that's 2 o'clock, I think, Paris time. Ledger CEO Pascal Gauthier and Ian Rogers, Charles Guillemet, and Sebastian Balda. I'm mangling their names. VP of Enterprise. So that's going to be cool. There's going to be panels, Design of Desires, Why Products Succeed or Fail. building the foundations of trust protocols, and the future of on-chain finance. That sounds interesting. The future of blockchain, cryptography, facing quantum, and AI. That's a big topic lately with all this AI talk and these quantum computers. So that'll be Charles Guillemet, the CTO of Ledger, Matthew Green, and Ian Myers. Pretty cool. Unseen game building resilience in sport and security. So they all look cool. If you're in Europe or you're close to Paris, I don't think it costs anything to register. Yeah, just register and show up, as far as I know. I could be wrong about that. But when I registered, they didn't charge me anything. They were just like, hey, you're good to go. And I registered my wife, too. So it's not just because I'm CryptoDad, right? But they did ask me who I knew, and I listed my Ledger rep. So maybe if you don't know anybody at Ledger, they might want you to pay. I don't know. See what happens. If you don't want to pay, don't pay. It'll take you to a page that says pay. You just say, no thanks. So that's cool. Ledger open 2025, and I will be there. Let's see. I think I've covered everything. We've got an agenda, things we're going to do tonight. I'm going to update. I do have a latest video, which is this one. You saw me do this last week. It's just a rehash of the news, edited down, where I talked about market manipulation. So that's it. So it's good to have everybody here. And thanks again for that donation, Joseph. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Retro Recap, just subscribed. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So Bitcoin hits 15-week low under 105K as U.S. regional bank woes echo 2023. Bitcoin price strength collapsed as U.S. regional bank stress spilled over into crypto, as it did in 2023, while traders are focusing on $100,000. Currently, where are we currently? Currently at 107,207, not too shabby. So a little bit higher than what they had yesterday when they wrote this story. Traders see 100 grand as the possibly failing as support. Gold comes off fresh all-time highs as Peter Schiff sees gold beating Bitcoin to the $1 million mark. Okay. Bitcoin fell to 15-week lows on Friday as U.S. banking rout added to BTC price pressures. Data from Cointelegraph's Market Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin dropping under 106 for the first time since June. Crypto markets reacted badly to concerns over U.S. regional banks' banking stocks, which began falling in a manner similar to 2023. So the banks aren't failing yet. Their stock is just dropping. But that could lead to bank runs and a collapse of the bank. In 2023, the FDIC covered all the depositors of Silicon Valley Bank, and there was one or two other banks that they also covered. So that we don't know how close we were in that respect to a chain reaction, but it was the damage kind of stopped after those two banks, and so we're not even there yet. If one of these banks fails, the FDIC will probably cover them as well. Why not? They can just print money out of thin air, so why not? Okay, so Bitcoin and altcoins. Then, back in 2023, Bitcoin and altcoins saw a flash crash before a strong rebound, with BTC USD dipping under the 20,000 mark. In March 2023, regional bank stocks collapsed. The crisis was contained, as I mentioned, but nothing really changed. Trading resource, the Kobesi letter, wrote in an X post. Some traders warned of a retest of Bitcoin at 100,000. Hasn't happened yet. Others saw an attempt to fill a daily candle wick from last week, which took the price to 102 on Binance. BTC working on Binance wick. If it doesn't end there, it could fill the whole wick near the weekly 50-week moving average. Trader Superburo wrote on X. Earlier moving averages on daily time frames failed to hold as support, leading Bitcoin to touch its 200-day moving average for the first time in over 6 months. So we'll see how that goes. Dan knows more about charting than I do. He knows a lot about charting, a lot more than I do. So let's check in with ETFs. Bitcoin ETFs are exchange traded funds, and it's a way for institutional investors and investors that aren't really savvy with holding Bitcoin in a wallet or buying it on an exchange. It's a way you can purchase a vehicle that will indirectly have you invested in Bitcoin. There's Bitcoin ETFs, there's Ethereum ETFs, and there's talk of more ETFs coming. Wally, can you add a 13th or 25 word to your seed phrase after you've used your wallet for a while? If yes, does that change your wallet address? The answer is yes and yes. So you can add a passphrase to a hardware wallet at any point you want to. All you have to do is go into the settings and say add passphrase. Pardon me. There's two ways to do it on a ledger. One is you create the passphrase and then you attach it to an alternate pin, so that when you open the device, if you open the device normally with your normal pin, it'll be your base configuration, and if you put in that alternate pin, it'll be in the passphrase configuration. That's a little more convenient on your day-to-day after you have your passphrase set up. The set temporary is you have to literally put in the password every time you want to use the passphrase. Passphrase! Put in the passphrase anytime you want to access that configuration. Now, the thing that confuses people the most about passphrase configurations is that once you've entered that passphrase or that alternate PIN, your device is now in a different configuration. And so you have to create a new account when you're in that configuration. So you enter your passphrase, you're in the passphrase configuration, you have to add an account, and it will be empty the first time you do this, and then you put some crypto in there. If you disconnect the device and open up the device again in base mode without the passphrase, then you will not be able to access that passphrase account. You'll see it. If you leave it in Ledger Live, you'll see it, but you won't be able to manage crypto because it'll give you that error. Oops, something went wrong. This is not the right configuration. You got the wrong device, or you don't have your passphrase in. So in order to re-access any crypto that you've added when the device was in passphrase configuration, then you will need to re-enter that passphrase or that alternate PIN, and then you'll be able to manage that passphrase account that you created. But at that point, you won't be able to manage any of your other accounts, because as far as Ledger Live is concerned, that's a different device. Because you've entered a passphrase, it's in a completely different configuration. Now, if any of that if you didn't understand any of that, then don't use passphrases. They are very dangerous. If you don't understand what you're doing, you can easily lose crypto. And if you forget your passphrase, you'll never be able to access any of that crypto that you put in the passphrase configuration. I cannot stress this enough. Please don't do this stuff just because you're paranoid. Oh, I'm worried somebody's going to steal. But you don't know what you're doing. You're going to end up losing that crypto you were so worried someone else was going to steal. Anywho, let's move on. I hope that answered your question. The Bitcoin ETFs shed 1.2 billion in red week, but Schwab remains bullish. That's great. These legacy financial people are all behind Bitcoin now, when all they could do from 2017 to 2024 was talk trash about Bitcoin. Now all of a sudden they're on board, right? I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. Spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds in the United States have seen more than 1.2 billion in outflows this week, but Charles Schwab is seeing more interest in the products. The 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S., there's 11 of them, saw an aggregate outflow of 366.6 million on Friday, which rounded off a red week for the asset and Bitcoin-associated institutional investment products. Yeah, so ETFs saw outflows. Get that. Bitcoin was down over the last week or so. Charles Schwab CEO Rick Wurster remains bullish on crypto exchange-traded products, stating that the asset manager's clients own 20% of all crypto ETPs in the country. Well, that's quite a bit. Crypto ETPs have been very active, he said on CNBC on Friday, noting that visits to the company's crypto site have gone up 90% in the past year. So sounds pretty bullish to me. That's good news, right? And then a little more detail into this story about regional banks. Bitcoin smells trouble as banks are stressed and yields are puking. Strike CEO. Regional banks faced renewed stress despite 2023 crisis reforms, with Zion's and Western Alliance stocks plunging as Bitcoin fell to a 4-month low. Several regional banks in the United States are facing renewed stress despite strengthening their finances after the 2023 banking crisis, and Bitcoin could benefit from any liquidity crisis that follows. Strike CEO Jack Mallers sees the banking stress as validation that Bitcoin is correctly pricing an impending liquidity crisis, opining that the Federal Reserve's inevitable response will drive BTC prices higher, right? So if banks start to falter, the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates and go into quantitative easing and all that good stuff that's good for Bitcoin, right? Bad for inflation, but good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is accurately smelling trouble now, he said on the Primal social media platform on Friday. The U.S. is going to have to inject some of that sweet, sweet liquidity soon and print a ton of money, or else their fiat empire goes kaboom. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, so all that stuff's good for Bitcoin. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, the banking so-called crisis was contained last week because I think that was an engineered collapse in 2023. Those were crypto-friendly banks, and the Biden administration was, I forget the name of that policy that they had that was going after crypto banks. I can't think of the name of it, but that was what that was all about. I don't know what this one's about. So this one might be a little more troubling, since this has to do with bankruptcies and companies that are doing fraud. I mean, these two banks are claiming they had bad loans or fraudulent loans or whatever they're claiming, just papered over with the March 23 banking crisis was never truly resolved, just papered over with government bailouts and acquisitions. However, this created a moral hazard as banks took excessive risks, knowing the government would backstop deposits beyond the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, limits. Wall Street is growing concerned about the health of nations' regional banks following the write-off of bad loans to commercial customers, as reported by the Associated Press on Friday. These commercial customers were doing very creative financing, like pledging collateral multiple times. They were just doing some real crazy, on the edge of fraudulent accounting. And, they're like, hey, we can't figure out what happened to $100 billion or something, or $1.1 billion or something like that. So it's the rot goes much deeper than the banks themselves. This is all about, the U.S. economy, U.S. businesses, and, they're going under, and they're doing crazy stuff to stay afloat, and raise capital and pay their bills. That's where we are. Zions Bank and Western Alliance's stocks crashed last week due to loan problems, triggering broader market fears. And Bitcoin tanked to a 4-month low. Let's move on to this story that's about prediction markets. If you're not familiar with prediction markets, you should be. They're mentioned a lot more during elections now. It used to be that when elections were coming up, they would always talk about polls. Now they talk more about prediction markets. And the idea here is, first of all, polls can be very biased, depending on who is giving you the polls. It's gotten to the point where people don't trust polls anymore because, you've got polls on Fox News saying one thing, and then you've got polls on MSNBC saying another thing, because the way you ask the question can be one-sided, the way you interpret the results can be one-sided, and so people are not listening to polls anymore. And prediction markets, at least Polymarket, which is a crypto-based prediction market, the idea is that it's truer than a poll because it's based on what people are betting. So people are putting their money where their mouth is. And so if people are betting more on one candidate, that's a truer measurement of whether that candidate has a higher percentage of winning, right? Although there are holes in that narrative as well. But that's what prediction markets are, Polymarket being the big one. And they're gaining a lot of new companies are doing this, and they're gaining more momentum. Mike Richlow, a researcher at prediction market infrastructure Azuro, thinks prediction markets are breaking into the mainstream, and the data appears to back him up. On Thursday, Ryko argued that prediction markets are entering the real world beyond crypto, and their accessibility is likely to result in their success as the first decentralized product that achieves mass adoption. Most people never open a derivative exchange, but 87% chance Madami wins. That's language anyone speaks. He added that humans are lazy by design and crave a clean, digestible signal, and said that prediction markets meet that demand by turning complex forecasts into simple data points. I don't know. I don't use them that much, and I don't trade futures, but apparently they're used in high-speed or high-end trading as well. Right? So gaining a lot of momentum. I thought I'd bring that up. And, here's a heartwarming story. I'd like to cover this story. Apparently, hackers are terrible traders. These hackers that have stolen money from people or crypto are panic selling during the downturn last week. That was pretty interesting. How exploiters panic sold and lost $13 million during market chaos. 6 hacker wallets lost $13.4 million trading Ethereum during the October 10 market crash. Hackers sold ETH at the local bottom, then repurchased at higher prices after markets rebounded. The losses suggest poor trading strategies or a rushed attempt to launder illicit funds. Last week's massive crypto crash didn't just hit traders, it also wiped out millions in stolen funds held by hackers who, caught in the panic, misplayed the market with disastrous timing. Blockchain sleuth LookOnChain has tracked at least 6 wallets linked to known hackers that lost more than $13.4 million after panic selling Ether during the downturn. These hackers panic sold 7,816 ETH at $37.28 during the market loss, losing another $3.37 million. The hackers in question appear to be part of a group of cyber criminals who have recently engaged in cryptocurrency theft. The mention of 6 hacker wallets losing over $13.4 million suggests a coordinated effort possibly linked to a known hacking syndicate. buy high, sell low, right? I just wanted to bring this story up because, it's really a bad time to be trading when you're in a panic. You should have a long-term strategy. I know it's stressful when the crypto market takes a huge dip like it did last week. But if you're going to sell, you should be not in an emotionally charged state, especially if you're trying to find the bottom, right? You sell and then you think it's going to keep going down. You'll be able to buy more at a lower price, but instead it bounces back and then you panic buy again. So short-term trading should only be done by professionals. I didn't sell anything. I haven't sold any crypto in months. I only buy. I did bought a few cryptos last week. You saw me move those into my wallet. But I just thought to show you that it can happen to anyone, right? Don't think that, you're a super trader and then get all panicked and panic sell. It's not a good strategy, right? All right, so thank you, everybody. Doc Capital is saying there's a new Trezor device coming soon. Someone mentioned the Trezor 7. I don't know anything about this, but I did have, I think it's over here. Oh, yeah. Trezor is also having a conference like the Ledger Open, which I don't know why they did them both at the same time. Maybe that was on purpose by one of the other of them, so that you couldn't be in both places. But yeah, Trezor has got something starting on the 21st. It's going to be live, a new standard in crypto security, trustless by design. It looks like they're doubling down on the crypto wallets should be open source philosophy. I'm all for open source. And some people, well, I want to say some people, but there are a lot of people that think that a crypto hardware wallet should be open source. And the market has shown that that is not true. Open architecture designs have really failed to be secure devices. An open architecture device like the original Trezor 1 and the Trezor T have been shown to be hackable. Right? Because of their open source design, anyone can see what goes on inside them, and they're just asking for white hat hackers to crack the device open and figure out how to hack the pin. That's usually how it works. They hack the pin. Once they've hacked the pin, they can open the device and they have access to it. Now, this does not mean that they're remotely hackable. This means that if someone were to steal your device, they might be able to hand it off to someone that has the know-how to get it open, because it does take special tools and special skills. But if you've stolen a crypto device and then you Google, how do I crack this thing? You might be willing to make a deal with someone that could get into it. So Trezor itself has devices that use secure element chips. They have moved on from the open source, open architecture design. They are still committed to open source. And that's great. Software, firmware, all great stuff. But no device is completely open source if it has a secure element chip. The secure element chips are closed source by design. They're purchased from third parties, and they're secure and secret, just like those little chips you have in your ATM card and your credit cards and your digital passports have secure element chips in them. So ledgers use secure element chips. Trezors use secure element chips. One Key uses secure element chips. Tangem uses secure element chips. So this whole idea that, the hardware wallet should be open source is they're open source to a point. Like ledgers are 95% open source, but the secure element chip is not, and that's for numerous reasons. But they're purchased from third parties. Those are proprietary designs. It goes back to what we normally think about products. They don't share their architecture because they don't want their competitors being able to recreate their products. They've invested billions in these secure chips, companies like ST Micro, and they're closed source by design. And the companies have to sign NDAs that they will not reveal the internal architecture. So, anywho, I'm off on a rant again, but it's a calm rant. All right. So let's talk about, yes, choke point. Thank you, Paul. That's right. I was talking about choke point 2.0 back in early 2023 when Silicon Valley Bank crashed. Let's see. Positive Planet sent me an email and linked to this video where this gentleman says, I had over 3 million worth of XRP stolen off my cold wallet. Now, he seems like a genuine person, and he genuinely lost this XRP. I don't believe he's a troller or anything like that. Jack, thank you for that subscription. And I'm heartbroken that he lost this money. That was money that he had set aside for him and his wife to retire on, and he is obviously distraught. I know that feeling. I watched my crypto portfolio go from around $250,000 down to $30,000 over the course of a few months back in 2021 and 2022 when the FTX crashed the crypto market. So I understand how it feels to lose that kind of money that you thought was going to be there for you. I totally get that feeling. I understand that sick feeling in your stomach when you lose something you thought was gonna, make you happy or, get you a new house or whatever. I totally understand that feeling and I feel for the guy. However, this video is about 8 minutes long, and he's had this YouTube account since 2020, but he just started posting videos about 3 days ago when this happened to him. And he's got, a few follow-ups. He's a genuine guy. He's not like a scammer or a grifter or a troller, in my opinion. But he doesn't really explain what happened. He talks a lot about what he saw on the XRP blockchain, and he seems to be stuck on this thing that he sees a tag in his... let me see if I can find this thing here. Source tag. He's like, oh, what is this source tag? He sees it on the blockchain. Well, the source tag really has nothing to do with how he lost this crypto. And I've heard this story hundreds of times over the years, usually on Reddit. And they're always the same. They always say, somebody drained my hard wallet. And then they always put on a bunch of qualifiers like, I made sure I did everything right. I wrote down my seed phrase. I never showed it to anybody. I never took a picture. They always qualify their, their story with, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. I did everything the way I'm supposed to. I didn't show my seed phrase to anybody, but my wallet got drained. So they're all like that. All the stories are like that. I don't mean to sound unsympathetic, but he didn't, give us any information about what he might have done or how this might have happened. He did mention that he had claimed some airdrops, so it's possible that he might have done something wrong during the time he was claiming these airdrops. I think it was the Flare airdrop, the XRP Flare. And so I'll just say something about airdrops that I feel that I don't like airdrops. I've done a few videos on how to claim types of airdrops like the Jupiter airdrop, but I think that they're like a honeypot, and people get obsessed with them because it's free, and they think that, it's going to be some kind of money tree. But most airdrops are just marketing ploys by a crypto project to get their coin out there. And just because you get some free tokens doesn't mean they're going to be worth anything. And even if they are, insiders and, people a lot more savvy than you get in there and sell them while they're still high. And then, the retail guy who doesn't know exactly what he's doing is left holding the bag with a bunch of worthless tokens. But I don't know if that was why his wallet got drained. But obviously, someone got access to his seed phrase. He entered it on a website, or I don't know that you can do malicious smart contracts on XRP. I forgot to ask ChatGTP about that. But there are a lot of ways that people can expose their wallet. He said he didn't take a picture of it, but he didn't really go into how he set up the wallet. And like I said, these stories there's a dime a dozen on Reddit. And generally, when people post these things on Reddit, the people in Reddit start grilling them about what they did and exactly what happened. And it always comes out that they did something wrong. Once they give back follow-up information, it becomes obvious that they expose their seed phrase in some way or form. Either that, or they just stop posting, or they delete the account. And a lot of these on Reddit are, hey, they just created the account today, and they post this, hey, my hardware wallet got drained. And I don't mean to accuse him of any of this. I'm just saying this is not a new thing to me. I see this kind of stuff all the time, and I feel bad for the guy, but he's not. No one's really engaging him. All the comments are like, gee, I'm really sorry. God bless you. Very nice, but no one's engaging him as to, hey, what did you do? Can you go through your process? Did you do this? Did you do that? And explain how you set your wallet up. We don't know. Maybe he imported a hot wallet into his cold wallet. I see here he did a video. What's the difference between a cold wallet and a hot wallet? So I haven't had a chance to watch all of his videos yet. But if he had his XRP in a hot wallet and then he went out and got an Elipal and imported that hot wallet seed phrase onto his hardware device, then your hardware device is not really secure. Your hardware device should generate a unique master private key and a unique seed phrase. So I know that people have done this before. So if he had a hot wallet and he imported that seed phrase onto his hardware device, then that hot wallet has the potential to have been exposed. Someone could have hacked his computer in order to get that hot wallet private key. So like I said, I don't know what happened because he's not giving us the information that you would want if you had someone that came to you with this sit down and explain. Now, one of the things that he talks about here, and I'm older than him, but it's like there's nobody to call. And that's something you have to understand, especially about cryptocurrency, but even modern life. Getting someone on the phone is not going to solve your problem, even if you could. So, he's upset because he talks to bots and he or he can't get a hold of a person. But that's not a magic bullet anymore. But that's kind of his generation, maybe my generation. They just want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. It's not going to happen. The world is not that simple anymore. You just can't pick up the phone and get someone on there that's going to understand your problem and fix it for you anymore. So I feel bad for him. And he talks about how, he talked to the police and the police can't do anything. The police don't understand. His local police, he says they're very nice, but they don't know anything about crypto. They direct him to the WC3 site. I think it's WC3. No, that's World of Warcraft. Crypto crime. I was like, no. Report crypto crime. I think that's how you do that. No, it's not gonna. I think that's no. I think I saw the link there. Here. I can't find it. Anyway, there's a website where you can IC3. That's the one I'm looking for. IC3. IC3. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. There we go. Internet Crime Report. Come on, man. Where is this thing? Okay, there. That's what we're looking for. Right. So you can go to this website and report a cybercrime. But even if they find out who did it, there's not much chance of getting any recovery. They're usually overseas, and they've usually already moved the crypto somewhere else. So anyway, thanks for bringing that story to my attention. I gave you an earful of how I feel about these kind of stories. Let's see. I guess the guy said he was using the hot wallet function on his Elipal. I actually got the Titan 2 because of you a couple of years. Oh, okay. So the Elipal, and well, I can see if I can do this. Get this. Let me take a look at this. I don't know if I can do this or not. Hang on. Oops. Come on here. I'm not sure if I have this thing set up or not. Okay. Yeah, so if you're using an Elipal wallet, when you buy an Elipal device, you download their app, and the app interacts with the hardware device. But you can also add see this hot wallet here? If you add a hot wallet, then it basically is just a phone wallet. It's not protected by your hardware device at all. So maybe he had a hot wallet on his app, and that's where he was dumping his XRP, and then his phone got hacked, or he did something connected to a site with his phone or whatever, and that might be what happened, because the Elipal app can be confusing. I've known people that had, showed me his Elipal app. He had an Elipal device, but he was having trouble, and it was easier for him to just use the hot app because it was less stressful the way the Elipal worked. The Elipal is a air-gapped wallet, and I would not recommend an air-gapped wallet for a beginner. So he might have got confused between the hot wallet and the cold wallet on the Elipal app. And if that's the case, then, a phone-based crypto app is only as secure as your phone, right? It's not using the hardware device for any protection. The vid he posted goes into more detail. Okay, 45 minutes. What he says, the Elipal reached out to him and he thinks he was using the hard wallet as a hot wallet. Okay, I see. The guy had 5 euro Elipal and didn't know it was hot wallet mode. That's what happened. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That's a shame. Let's see. Let's go back to my... Oh, Kitty's here. Oh, Kitty. Let's come here. Come on, Kitty. Say hi to everybody. Wah. Kitty, it's raining. It was raining today. Yeah, it was raining today, and Kitty got wet. And so he stayed inside for a while, and then we let him back out. It wasn't raining anymore, but then he decided that he wanted to come back in, and so he's here now. He probably wants to go back outside at this point. He spends most of his time outside. My mom is coming to stay with my kids while my wife and I go to Paris. And so my daughter is going to feed the cat, and my son is going to manage our water filter. We have a Berkey water filter. It's a really good charcoal water filter, and I make sure that we use filtered water for, just about anything we need water for. So, but it's a daily grind. You got to fill that. You got to fill up that Berkey filter. You gotta fill up your jugs and put them aside and refill it once or twice a day. So that'll be my son's job, and my mom's gonna take him to school. And the dog is going to the kennel. I don't know if you've seen my dog. My dog's a handful. Let's go back here. Live scene. So back to my agenda. We talked about, so let me go ahead and talk about updating your apps. So when you launch Ledger Live, sometimes you'll see a purple dot over on the left side, which I don't see. Oh, there it is. So the purple dot over here on the left side means that there is an update available for the device, right? If you're not running the latest version of Ledger Live, then there's going to be an alert at the top that tells you need to update your Ledger Live. So you've got your Ledger Live software that has to stay updated. And over in the My Ledger section, you've got the firmware updates and the app updates. So let me connect my Flex. And let me enter my PIN. Okay, and then we'll hit this My Ledger section. All right, and let's see here. Yeah, whoops. Okay. Secure connection. All right. And that's pretty much all you got to do. If I can get this thing to stay straight. Turn this thing off. You don't need that camera. So we go back here. And you'll see that the Ledger Flex is just past the genuine check. Every time you go into the My Ledger section, it runs the genuine check. So past the genuine check, the OS version is up to date on the firmware, right? They used to call it firmware, now they just call it the OS. So what it wants me to update are the apps themselves. A lot of people don't understand that these apps are not written by Ledger. Some of them are, like the Exchange app and the Recovery Check. Those are Ledger apps. But the Ethereum app, the Bitcoin app, the Solana app, the Tron app, these are done by the developers of those blockchains using Ledger dev tools. So when blockchains get updated, when they fix bugs, when they put in some new feature, or they update their blockchain, the Ledger app needs to be updated as well. And so the developers will update their Ledger app and submit it to Ledger, and then it will go into Ledger Live and need an update for the app. This is very important. So all you have to do to update those apps is hit update all, and then it will start updating those apps. And you can see that it's updating on the device here shortly. You'll see some progress on the device itself. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. Just keep your eyes open. It'll happen. Well, okay, it's not happening as fast as I would like it to, but it's okay. There it goes. So it's updating the apps. Now, an interesting thing. Now, when I go to Ledger, I am going to get a chance to talk to Charles Guillemet in an interview setting with another influencer that's going to be recorded, filmed by them, and it'll probably be posted on their website. I'll put a link to it on my page. And I wanted to ask him about the strength of Ledger's architecture, in that every crypto needs to have an application that runs on the device. And then whenever you go to manage like your Bitcoin account, it'll go, oh, you got to open the Bitcoin app. And the reason that that's good is because it silos the functionality of the different apps. So if you're in the Bitcoin app, you can't manage your Ethereum. And I think that's a very robust way of implementing a hardware device, as opposed to some other companies that they don't have apps on their device. They just have like software that runs on a phone or on a computer that manages the different apps. For example, Trezor. Trezor does not have apps on their device, separate apps. You just connect your Trezor to Trezor Suite, and then Trezor Suite will manage, okay, create a Bitcoin account, create an Ethereum account, create a Solana account, but it never tells you on the device, oh, you need to open the Solana app or you need to open the Bitcoin app. It doesn't silo the apps on the device. It's just got a monolithic firmware that manages all the cryptos within it, right? So, but I want to talk to Charles Guillemet and kind of ask him, what are the advantages of siloing the apps on the device as opposed to not doing that, and kind of give me an overview of why they decided to do it this way, what are its strengths, and what are the weaknesses of the other ways. Not just Trezor, but there are other hardware wallets that don't use apps either. Some of them do. I think OneKey does. OneKey uses apps. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of questions for Charles, and apparently I'm going to have some FaceTime with Charles and some of the other people at Ledger. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me see. I just want to add that to me. Yeah, and of course I'm going to ask him if they're planning on getting a better secure element chip with more storage for Stacks and Flex. That's one of the frustrations that people have about Stacks and Flex, is that they have less storage than the Ledger Nano X. Ledger Nano X has 1.5 megabytes, where this is just under 1 megabyte. And the reason that is because of the secure screen technology. They're using up some of the capacity of the OS to run that screen, and that's a good thing. But a lot of people, that's something that people take for granted, and then they wonder, well, how come this thing doesn't have as much space as a Ledger Nano X? It's inconvenient. As you can see, mine's almost full of apps. You can shuffle apps on and off. That's easy to do. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but it can be done. You can manage hundreds of apps by just shuffling them on and off. It doesn't delete the wallets when you do that. But I'm curious if there are any plans to upgrading the secure element chip in the devices. Of course, if they did that, it would be a different device. It wouldn't be like, oh, it would be next gen Flex or Flex 2 or whatever, right? So it would have to be a new product if they changed the secure element chip. Thoughts on switching to Linux? Doc Capital. That's a good question. A lot of people are really uptight and paranoid about their computer that they do crypto on. And I understand. I've known people that use a separate computer for their crypto stuff, and they don't do any of their crypto stuff on their go-to computer. That's, they're siloing the functionality. And then there are people that are concerned about Windows being, spyware, just not a safe environment to be doing crypto. This is more a privacy concern than a security concern. But I know how to install Debian Linux on a computer. I've done it many times. I used to have a secondary computer under my desk here, but since I've done some upgrades, I gave my wife a computer. I have a half-built computer under the table over there that I'm planning on setting up and running Debian. The problem that I have with Debian or Linux in general is that it just can't run the software, the commercial software that I need. Now they also, the Linux people will go, oh, don't worry, there's an open source free version of whatever you need, right? So, they have a suite that's like Open Office, I think, that has Word, what their version of Word, Excel, and whatever, but it's not Word and it's not Excel. It's some other software. I need to use Adobe Premiere to do my video editing. There's just a lot of crucial software that I need in my workflow that I can't run on Linux. So although I like it, it's fun, and maybe, but I'm not going to silo my crypto stuff over on a separate computer. That would be too inconvenient for me. I have a hardware wallet. That's what the hardware wallet is for. The hardware wallet keeps the private key safe and secure offline, and so you really don't have to worry about having crypto, like this crypto software, running on your computer because the device is handling the security. As far as privacy is concerned, that's not a huge issue for me. I don't know that there's anywhere to hide anymore. I don't know that having Linux will make it any better. But, Linux is open source and probably a lot less spyware in there and backdoors or whatever. But, yeah. So, but it's just too inconvenient for me to use Debian on a separate computer for certain things and have to go back and forth between two computers to do my normal workflow. I mean, it took me forever to get the tools that I needed to record software over on Debian. That was a real hassle. I wanted to actually do some Debian videos that I recorded with my webcams, and I can't use OBS, my OBS Streamlabs software. They have a version of it for Linux, but it's completely different. And trying to get all the devices to work was a real pain over in Debian. It didn't recognize my multiple webcams and stuff. So, and I know what I'm doing. I'm not a novice computer user, but it was just too cumbersome to try to, do what I do over on a Linux machine. But, I think there's a version of Ledger Live that runs in Linux. I know there's some Bitcoin wallets that run in Linux. You can run MetaMask in Linux because you can run, web browsers in Linux. But it's just not as easy as it is on a Windows machine. That's all I can say. A1. I wonder that these wallets are they compatible with a Linux system? Might be a stupid question, but I'm not tech knowledgeable at all. Well, I think I kind of covered that There are certain wallets that will run in Linux, but there's a lot more hoops you got to jump through to get everything to work with your yeah, you've got the USB connection of the device and Linux, you know. Yeah, I always had trouble with like getting my mics to work over in Linux to do my recording and streaming. Just a hassle. 12 apps on stacks only at one time. It depends, Gregory. Some apps are bigger than others, so depending on the apps you're using, you might be able to squeeze more than 12 on there. I don't know. Doc Capital, not paranoid, just Linux seems to work better, uses less resources, and it's free. Well, that's basically the argument for Linux, you know, that it's free and that it is less resource intensive than Windows. I totally understand that. It's for me, it's good as a little hobby plaything machine, but it's just not a production. It's not ready for prime time for the stuff that I do. Seems to work for me because most of my apps are available on Linux. Good. That's good. I'd like to build my own PC, learn from someone while working on building it step by step. That'd be cool. I don't know anything about building one. LOL. KDE Plasma looks good. Trezor Suite Ledger Live, all available on Linux. Okay. So you could run those over there. So if that works for you, then great, you know, and you're not using some, you know, doing accounting work or whatever that requires, you know, Windows software. You typed it before you answered it. Thank you. Yeah. I think the privacy computer video is great. Yeah, I did a few. I streamed over in Linux, but I don't know where they are right now. But we're running out of time. But yeah, I actually got a Linux machine set up and then managed to do a video. I think I was pointing a camera at the screen during the initial setup before it was connected to the internet. And then once I got to the desktop on Linux, then I installed OBS and had my cameras and my mic working and managed to like finish it from within Linux using my Linux streaming tools and my webcams in Linux. Yeah. Anyhow, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Hope you learned something. I didn't get a chance to move any crypto around, but we did talk about wallets and getting hacked and all that kind of good stuff. I did a few, some of the questions that you guys asked really, you know, picked my brain and got me talking about certain stuff like passphrases and hardware wallets and, you know, managing hardware wallets versus software wallets. So I think we covered a lot of good topics tonight. Let's see. Let's go over here. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Kenny, thank you for the news. I don't know what happened to Dan. I didn't see Dan tonight. I saw him on Tuesday in person here in Grand Rapids, but I guess he didn't make it tonight, which that's fine. I want to thank everyone that donated. Joseph donated. Very kind of you. Wally donated also. That was very kind of you, asking about the passphrase information. Thanks everyone else that just asked questions. It's good to have you guys be here and ask questions, and thank you everyone that checked in, you know, and thank you for people that were just here lurking. That's cool too. Good to have everyone here with me on Saturday night. I will be here again next Saturday. I will be in Paris in between, but I'll be back from Paris on Friday, so I should be here on Saturday for the live stream. Check out Ledger Open. It's going to be cool. I'll be broadcasting from there. Hopefully by the time Thursday rolls around, I should get all the kinks out of my Verizon. I remember when we went to Canada, as soon as we crossed the border, we lost our wireless service right as we crossed the border. But then when we got to Toronto, like within 24 hours, all of a sudden our phones just came to life and are like, welcome to Verizon, blah, blah, blah. They got it that we were out of the country and they like set us up. But I did some pre-stuff on the phone, so got on like a certain plan for international, unlimited international. So hopefully I'll be connected and I'll be able to broadcast from Paris at the Ledger Open and in and around what's going on during that conference. It's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. But I will be here again next week, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me.